also thank all the emergency workers, the council workers and all the volunteers who came out in Rhondda Cynon Taf to support residents and communities during the recent flooding. Can I also thank RCT Council for all the work and investment that they have put in, some £100 million since the Storm Dennis floods in 2020. I think the investment in culvert renewal, monitoring, the new bridges and flood walls clearly had an impact. And I think were it not for that active investment and engagement, many more communities and homes would have been affected. I mean, 1,500 homes flooded last time. In many of the areas, the improvements were effective, but sadly this time, there were still 125 homes that flooded, and for them, this is no consolation, and the impact has been devastating. We do have more lessons to learn, and we must now focus on helping those who are flooded to get back into their homes. So I welcome the £1,000 grants that Rhondda Cynon Taf will be making, and of course I have urged Welsh Government to look at implementing a similar scheme for those residents and for local businesses. So I welcome your announcements of financial support so far. I'm very glad that most of Pontypridd avoided the scale of flooding experienced last time, but not all. So we do need to look at Mill Street and Pontypridd. We need a new flood wall along the river in Sion Street and Barrow Road. We need to look at what happened in Egypt Street in Pontypridd. Nantgarrow avoided serious flooding, but it came close. We all recognise that climate change is here with a vengeance and there's no absolute solution. But there are things we can and we must do to support and to mitigate affected communities. So will the Minister please perhaps outline again the package of financial support that will be made available to residents, but also whether there will be any financial support that will be considered for local businesses, and what support there might be for the local council in respect of ongoing capital projects and perhaps new capital projects that will be required from the lessons that we learned from the recent events. Diolch.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the time that you spent with me as well, speaking with those affected in your constituency. And yes, Rhondda Cynon Taf have announced their own package of support, which is very welcome. I understand that Merthyr have also said the same. I'm sure that there will be other local authorities who will be similarly minded. But here in Welsh Government, I just want to note my thanks to the First Minister and the Cabinet Secretary for Finance and Welsh Language, who've rapidly responded by putting in place a package indeed for those who are affected, £500 or £1,000, depending on whether they're insured or not, to try and recognise that, but also a package for the businesses affected as well, to get them back onto their feet. And going forward, indeed, we've maintained that record level of funding for for communities to protect them against floods. We will keep that investment going. There are many projects in the pipeline already, but it won't all be the huge ones that we see, although there were many of those within Pontypridd that actually saved properties and saved householders. But it will also be those many small investments that actually keep the water flowing away from the towns that people will never see, but actually local authorities are getting on doing because of the funding we're putting in place.